the option to hide yourself?
Or right next to your camera.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to mute everybody, though.
Good morning, everyone. Our opening words are from Sarah C. Stewart and myself. We gather together this morning online or at some other time still online. Bring your best self and your struggling self. Bring your mistakes and your triumphs. Bring your shortcomings and your recommitment to good. We gather together virtually, yet still in community, trying to hammer out our divisions and hatred and all that separates one from another. We try and we will fall short, but held in love, we try again. We come together this morning as a fellowship to tell stories, to be, and to sing. To remember what is important to us, to remember our promises and vow to live by them once again. Welcome to Minnesota Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Maria, and I'm the Family Ministries Coordinator here. Today's worship is being led by myself and Reverend Laura. We have help, lots of help, from Richard on technology and videos from several children who did readings and adults helping with readings as well. So thank you so much to everybody who is participating. And our opening hymn today is number 338, I Seek the Spirit of a Child. Number 338. A reminder to keep yourself muted. Nicole is our vocalist and Lark is our pianist.
I seek the spirit of a child, the child who leads life naturally, the child who sings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee.
Thank you, Nicole and Lark and Reverend Laura, for putting together that wonderful video. So good to see each other's pictures and remember those times when we were together. We have some words from Reverend Andrea about the chalice lighting. So I'm going to read them and then Linnea is going to lead us in our chalice lighting. The flaming chalice, which is simply a lamp or candle, is the symbol or sign of Unitarian Universalism. Lighting it each Sunday or wearing it around your neck or as a pin reminds us that we are part of this religious community. Lighting the chalice in worship marks the beginning of our community's gathering into sacred space, which helps us get into the spirit of worship. The flame reminds us of our calling to serve the world with love and justice, and to build what Reverend Martin Luther King called the beloved community. Linnea is our chalice lighter today. She is a member of our 2nd through 5th grade RE class. The words are in the chat, so you can stay muted and say them with Linnea.
We are Unitarian Universalists. We are the church of the open mind, the loving heart, and helping hands. Together we care for our earth and work for friendship, peace, and justice in our world.
Every week we set aside time to share our joys and sorrows. What has been important to us this past week, or what's coming up next week? How are you? Do you have a joy or sorrow or something to share? Have you been able to play outside recently? I have some rocks here and a dish of water. I will put a rock in the dish for each joy or sorrow. The rock represents your joy or concern. The water represents the community support of MVUUF. Please raise your hand and unmute yourself or write in the chat. While you think I have a joy or, well, it's a concern, I want us to lift up the teachers, students, families, and staff who are working to take all the support of school and make it all work online. This week, there was an outbreak of COVID amongst transportation staff in Bloomington Public Schools, so I'm going to put a rock of concern in for them. And one for the families.
Maria, it's Barb Gilliand. Please put a rock in, a joy for all the children that we see today. And I think we have some grandparents here today. That's nice to see.
Thanks. Yes.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we lift up sorrow that Reverend Corin Arisian passed away? He was the minister at First Unitarian Society a while back, and his wife, Lee, was a friend and member of the fellowship. So he'd been with dementia for a while. So we lift, and some of you I know that struggle. So we lift them up today. And then a joy for us at home. Emily and I brought home our new puppy, Stella, on Monday, and she's fabulous. And we're having a great time with her. And then I have a lot today. I do have another concern. I found out yesterday that my son, his roommate has COVID. So now they're on quarantine, and it's the roommate that's right in the room next to him. And so just concerns. I mean, they're young and in their 20s and 30s, but definitely still concerned and hoping that they all get through it with good health intact. So
Next, I'm calling on Linnea.
I have a sorrow that in the school year I had to change teachers.
But you also like your new teacher.
But I also like my new teacher.
Yes, I'm glad you like her too, or like them too. A joy to see our UU children from Carla and the Vera Reese clan. A joy for our senior parents and grandparents who got their first vaccination shots this past week, Team HP. Kathy Eager says, Tuesday is my oldest grandson Grayson's 21st birthday. Also my youngest daughter Courtney's first wedding anniversary. A joy from Leslie Swenson. Last night, she participated in a Zoom auction dinner. It was wonderful, and I'm happy that the auction gave us that opportunity. Myra says, my niece goes back to school tomorrow, hoping she and everyone else stays safe and healthy, but glad she's going back because distance learning was really hard. We talked about that, Myra. Awesome. Any other?
Yeah, I have another joy. I saw my brother just log on, and I know that, where is my brother? There he is. Warren went back to school this week. So that's joy. Those of you that followed Warren's journey after his traumatic brain injury last summer. So he's going back to school. And I think it was actually my niece's Lily, it was their first day back to school too. So a lot of kids going back to school, and that's good. But congratulations to Warren for that big step of going back to be with his peers. I'm sure that makes him feel a lot better.
Candace has a concern for all families dealing with mental illness. And we're going to put an imaginary stone in for all the joys and concerns that remain in our hearts. Friends, will you please join me in our sung response to end our time of sharing?
And we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer.
So once upon a time, I worked as a chef for like many years. In fact, like 25 years. And people used to say to me all the time, wow, you're really good at cooking, and I wish I could be as good as you are at cooking. Well, I was, and I am still good at cooking because I had so much practice every day for like 25 years. I can't even imagine. I was trying to think about this morning how many meals I've cooked for people, and it's, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000. I don't know. I've cooked a lot of meals for people. And you're bound to get good at something if you do it for that long and that much. But one thing that people don't understand is that I made a lot of mistakes in cooking in those many years and in those many meals, and I still do. Sometimes, in fact, more often than not, when I put the pan on to make grilled cheese, I accidentally get the pan too hot, and my grilled cheese gets a little darker than maybe most people would like it. And then I say, I like it this way. But I have to wonder if I always liked it that way, or if I just came to like it that way because I always have my pan too hot when I make my grilled cheese sandwich. Another mistake that I remember that I made, that became a good thing, was I was making this angel food cake for dessert for a 5-course dinner at the restaurant that I worked at. I made fancy 5-course dinners there every night. So I'm making this angel food cake, and I want to tell you the story, but I also want to show you, this is an angel food cake pan, in case you've never seen one. I put the angel food cakes in the oven, and now this is a 5-course dinner. Timing is like a big thing for this. And the angel food cakes were coming out of the oven about the time that people were arriving for the dinner. So they were coming out like an hour and a half to 2 hours before people would be eating dessert. So I needed them to cool so that I could like plate it all up for the dessert later on in the meal. So I took the angel food cakes out of the oven. Now the angel food cake pans are unique. So there's two parts, it goes like this and this goes in here, and then you put the batter in and you bake the cake. But when you pull the cake out to cool, see it has these little things here. Some of them don't, but some of them do. You turn the pan upside down. That's why those legs are there, so that it can sit on a table. Or in this case, the ones that I had that they didn't have these, and I think I used Coke bottles or something, and I kind of put it upside down on that hole. The reason you do that, you know how big and fluffy angel food cakes are, right? They need to cool upside down so that they hold all that big fluffy space. And the other thing that you do when you make angel food cakes is you don't grease the pan, because if you did that, the sides wouldn't be sticky, and it needs to be sticky so that as it's rising in the oven, it has something to cling to. So it's because eggs are really difficult or delicate, the egg whites. So you have to have this special pan and special cooling for the angel food cakes. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So I pull these angel food cakes out of the oven, I put them upside down, and what happened? They fell out of the pans and all over the counter. Now I've got 50 people there to eat a 5-course dinner, and I have all the other courses that I have to plate and do. And what makes a great chef great is not, in my opinion, is not necessarily how good a cook they are, but how well they can recover and like think on their feet and make something well out of something that maybe didn't turn out the way that it was supposed to. I took all the crumbs, I made up a quick custard, I put it all back in a big rectangular pan and threw it back in the oven to set. I went ahead and served it with the things that I was going to serve it. And I called it Angel Pudding Supreme with slow roasted rhubarb, strawberry cream, and almond crumble. And it was a big hit. And everybody asked me, wow, this is an excellent dessert. How did you come up with it? And I was honest when they asked me as they were all leaving. I said, oh, you know, my angel food cakes fell all over the counter. And they were kind of shocked. They're like, really? A chef has things don't work out? And it's true. I did. I do make mistakes. No matter how good or how smart or how experienced we are, we all stumble and make mistakes along the way. And often through those mishaps, we find opportunity to try something new, and our journey ends up taking us to places that we wouldn't have gotten to without those stumbles and mishaps igniting our imagination. The following song and book are called Beautiful Oops, and they're by Barney Salzberg, and they're examples of creativity coming from a mistake. So watch this story and song, and afterwards we'll have an opportunity to share times maybe when we've had a beautiful or a delicious or a fun oops happen in our lives.
Beautiful oops, beautiful oops, beautiful oops, beautiful oops. A torn piece of paper is just the beginning. Every spill has lots of possibilities. Bent paper is something to celebrate. Little drip of paint, let your imagination run wild. A scrap of paper can be fun to play with. A smudge and a smear can make magic appear. Stain has potential if you play with the shape. Holes in your paper are worth exploring. When you think you have made a mistake, think of it as an opportunity to make something beautiful. Beautiful oops, beautiful oops, beautiful oops, beautiful oops.
A lot of our lives and even our ministries here, you know, we stumble and make mistakes. You know, this pandemic, we don't know what we're doing until we do it sometimes. And that's part of the process. And some things we get better at doing as we go. And one of the things we do well here is support our programs and work with our kids. But we're always learning on how to do that. But I want to introduce today in our Why I Give series, talking a little bit more about our family ministries, is Tom Schanbauer. So I hope that you'll enjoy this video as part of our Why I Give series.
Hello, I'm Tom Schanbauer. I'm a member here for 15 years. I'm a parent. I have 3 kids. And, they really are why I'm here and why I give. They mean a lot to me, and this community means a lot to me. And, the saying is, it takes a village. And I'm kind of picking this place as my village, I'm picking you, I'm picking this community to help me raise my kids. I have 2 daughters, and I know the power of having someone that believes in you even if you stop believing in yourself. And I want this church to be there for my kids when they need them. I'm a selfish man, I give for a reason, and it's because I get something in return. And I'm definitely asking for a big thing in return from MVUF, but I believe in this community. I'd like to have one final story, because the religious education department means so much to me here, what we do in class. And, I had already lost a class. I forgot the lesson plan. It wasn't going well. And this girl raised her hand, and she goes, "Well, I don't get it." And I kind of perked up, because, here's a chance for me to show off my big brains, So I was like, "Let me enlighten you, little one. What is it?" And she told me, she's like, "Well, I don't get it. A girl can marry a boy, a girl can marry a girl. Well, what's the big deal?" And it just hit me, and I got a little emotional, and I got, little tears in my eyes, and I had to calm down, because I'm like, you can't cry in front of the kindergartners. Don't cry in front of the kindergartners. And so I composed myself for a second, and which is dangerous in a room full of kindergartners, because they will fill that second. And a boy raised his hand, and I kind of nodded at him, because I didn't trust my voice to speak even. And he goes, "Well, I love rabbits." And I just laughed, and I laughed way harder than I should have. But those kids all heard something very different than what I heard. I heard this beautiful statement affirming what we're doing here, affirming that I'm making a difference, and this church is making a difference, and love is winning, and acceptance, and we're celebrating our diversity. And the kids all heard was, the sky is blue, water is wet, a girl can marry a girl, a doy, right? Well, this is obvious stuff. But, it's one of those things that really warms my heart even to this day. But we need to make sure we're taking care of MVUUF right now, because it needs to be there too when we get back together, and then we can party. And thank you. I love you all. I miss you all. Please take care of each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing that story. It really warms my heart to hear stories like that. And we really need them right now. I'm going to invite you all into our offering space. You can donate by mailing a check the old-fashioned way. You can donate on our website, or you can use the Give Plus app. And we'll give you a little focus time on that if you want to do that right now. Thank you. I want to thank you all for your generosity. Thank you so much.
Before we have a selection of readings prepared by our youth, I just wanted to show you, based on that story book that Laura showed, I handed my child a ripped piece of paper. Just, he hadn't seen this video yet. And he created a chicken monster. And I just wanted to show it to you because I thought it was great. Because he was making it and I didn't know what it was going to be. So today we have a selection of readings prepared from some of our 2nd through 5th graders. They chose readings about making a mistake or having a problem, and then something funny comes out of it. We have Nikhil and Ian reading funny poems by Shel Silverstein. Do you think you would like a hot dog with everything on it? Next, Alyssa's reading part of I Will Never, Not Ever, Eat a Tomato by Lauren Child. Then Eli will read another poem from Shel Silverstein. Lastly, Reverend Misha Sanders from Northwest UU congregation in Sandy Springs, Georgia, is going to tell us about a story of a mistake she made when she was 6 years old and how the teacher turned it into a fabulous Sunday school lesson. In each of these readings, think about what is good that's coming out of a mistake.
I've done it. Guess what I've done? Invented a light that plugs into the sun. The sun is bright enough, the bulb is strong enough, but oh, there's only one thing wrong. The cord ain't long enough.
Everything on It by Shel Silverstein. I asked for a hot dog with everything on it, and that was my big mistake. 'Cause it came with a parrot, a bee in a bonnet, a wristwatch, a wrench, and a rake. It came with a goldfish, a flag, and a fiddle, a frog, and a front porch swing, and a mouse in a mask. That's the last time I asked for a hot dog with everything.
I have this little sister, Lola. She's small and very funny. Sometimes I have to keep an eye on her. Sometimes Mom and Dad ask me to give Lola her dinner. This is difficult because she is a very fussy eater. Lola says, peas are too small and too green. One day I played a good trick on her. Then Lola saw some peas. I don't eat peas, said Lola. I said, these are not peas. Of course they're not. They're not. These are green drops from Greenland. They're made out of green and fall from the sky. But I don't eat green things, Lola said. Oh, goody, I said. I'll have your share. Green drops are so incredibly rare. Well, maybe I'll nibble just one or two. Oh, she said. Oh, said Lola. Quite tasty.
Homemade boat. This boat that we just built is just fine, and don't try to tell us it's not. The sides and the back are divine. It's the bottom I guess we forgot.
I'm Misha Sanders, and this braver, wiser reflection is called Red Bubble Letters. My sister had just taught me how to make bubble letters, which I thought would surely impress all my friends. So, before all the other children arrived, I drew and meticulously colored in big, wobbly red letters, God is Love, on the green chalkboard in my kindergarten Sunday school classroom. Not long into class, after all the children had arrived and pretty much ignored my artistry, one of my all-time favorite teachers picked up an eraser and began to swipe over the dusty old board, much to my dismay. But I was even more dismayed that my artistic creation did not seem to be fading, despite her vigorous attempt. Mysterious. Miraculous, perhaps. Turns out that red chalk that was, in my defense, on the chalk tray was actually a stumpy little red crayon. The tears started, as I recall, right about the time friends began whispering that I was definitely in big trouble. I was as mortified as a 6-year-old can get. I was mortified, that is, only until that beautiful, wise Sunday school teacher scooped me into her arms, and in a clear moment of amazing grace, I heard her deep alto laugh in my ear, and she said, "Oh, no, no one is in trouble. Don't you see, dear children, this is just perfect. What can erase God's love? Nothing." She ended the warm hug with a squeeze and then gleefully picked up a piece of white chalk and began quickly writing around my unintentionally semi-permanent crayon art all of the things that we could think to yell out that might make us feel unlovable in the eyes of God. Lying, cheating in school, cussing, hitting your brother, cutting in line for the slide, chewing gum in church. It was a lot for kids, those conservative religious rules in the 70s. But then with dramatic flourish, she again picked up the dusty eraser and wiped it all away, leaving only "God is love." God is love in big, wobbly red bubble letters. It is my only memory of a lesson from kindergarten Sunday school class. And maybe it's the only one that counts. Here's a prayer. Spirit of love, when we try hard but make a mess anyway, because we are all only precious children after all, may we remember to laugh, hold each other close, and marvel at the truth that remains, which in the end is only love.
Thank you to our fabulous readers. Mistakes are part of life. Problems come our way. And if we use our imagination or try again, we can make something beautiful, funny, yummy, or even inspirational. Hey, what's in this wonder box? When I lift it up, I notice it's really lightweight. It doesn't make a lot of sound, but I don't want to shake it too much because I don't want to break what's ever in there. Let's see what it is. Ooh, puppets. Hello, bird. Hello. Hello, lion. Hello. There's something else in here, but it looks like it's broken. No, it's not broken. It's a puzzle. You're supposed to put pieces together. Oh, I like puzzles with lots of pieces. I don't know about puzzles. I hope there aren't very many pieces. Okay, so it says begin. Tell the story of your mistake. Lion, remember when I asked if you wanted to play with me and you said no? Has anyone here ever had someone say no when you asked them if they could play? Raise your hand or type yes in the chat. I saw quite a few hands raising. Oh, and then Lion says, yes, you wanted to play outside and I was in the middle of building a project. I was just about to put the top block on my tower when boom, you came running in talking about going down slides and jumping in the snow. Good job, you two. You told a story about your problem. And that's probably the start of how we get this puzzle to be put together. Look, these pieces have words on them. Imagine. Can you two imagine how you would feel if you weren't having this argument? Yes, I would play outside with Lion and go down the slide and jump in the snow. I would build my tower and show it to Bird. Yes, but you two have very different ideas of what you're imagining for being a solution to this problem. Can you think of something that you could do to make these things happen? I felt so sad when you said you didn't want to play with me that I started to feel mad, but I was sad that your tower got knocked down. I could say sorry. I could say sorry that I said no instead of, can you wait 10 minutes until I'm done building? Nice. But remember that when you apologize to someone, that doesn't mean they have to accept your apology. Sometimes hurt relationships take conversations, reflections, and reparations, taking responsibility for repairing the hurt and the friendship. I will accept your apology, Lion. Thanks, Bird. Me too. Can you help me build my tower now? Do you think that Bird should help Lion rebuild the tower? You can nod your head or raise your hand. Another puzzle piece says reflect. I wonder what this puzzle is going to be when it's all put together. Bird, earlier you said you were feeling super sad. Yeah, and I was feeling sad too that Bird and I weren't playing together. Here's a picture of someone with a super sad feelings going on. And this is a picture of an angry face. Sometimes we feel so sad that we start to feel angry. There, she's grumpy. Those feelings happen sometimes in friendships. The next puzzle piece says forgive. Can you forgive each other and yourselves? Mistakes happen, and that's how we learn. Yes, and what's on that last piece? It says heal. This is a celebration piece because it means you have returned to intention now. Your friendship is back to how you originally imagined it. Yay! Yay! I'm so glad we get to play together again. Let's build. Yes, and let's go outside. Yes. What's this symbol on the last piece? Is that a party symbol? That is a repeat symbol, Bird. It's like in music, when you have a part that you want to play over again. But this isn't music, right, Lion? This is a way we make friends with someone again after you've made a mistake and have an argument. This is the puzzle put together. Ooh, I like that. Yes, me too. Thanks for helping me today, Bird and Lion. Goodbye. Goodbye. I love how this process is pretty much the same no matter your age. Start by telling the story of your mistake and then go through those different puzzle pieces and keep practicing. It is so important for all of us to have a way back to our intentions when we slip along the way. Keep in mind as well, there aren't necessarily perfect words for any of this. This puzzle is a tool you can use in many different situations. Just like learning a musical instrument, like this clarinet. When I practice, sometimes it sounds not very musical. It sounds like screeching or whistling. That's because I don't know how to play that song yet or that note. So sometimes I stop and try again. And sometimes I keep playing and that wrong note will turn into music with all the other notes around it. Everyone makes mistakes. That's how we learn. And sometimes the wrong note or a mistake can inspire us to create new music that's even better than we expected. So next we have a reading. In affirmation of our call to teach children, all the children of MVUUF, we have a reading. It's number 652 in the Gray Hymnal. The words are from a sermon by William Ellery Channing, one of the first outspoken Unitarians in America. Reading for us are Tom, Fran, Eric, and Judith.
The great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own.
Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own.
Not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth.
Not to form an outward regularity, but to touch inward springs.
Not to bind them by ineradicable prejudices to our particular sect or peculiar notions.
But to prepare them for impartial, conscientious judging of whatever subjects may be offered to their decision.
Not to burden the memory, but to quicken and strengthen the power of thought.
Not to impose religion upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but to awaken the conscious, the moral discernment.
In a word, the great end is to awaken the soul, to excite and cherish spiritual life.
This reading reminds me of how we as adults commit to teach our children and the other children in our MVUUF community. Thank you all who have volunteered in the past. And looking to the future, here is another way you can participate in our calling to teach and learn from the MVUUF children. Secret Friends has been a tradition at MVUUF for over 20 years. Adults and children at the fellowship are encouraged to sign up. So you can see in our Friday email, adults will be given a secret name and will write letters back and forth with a child. Children need parents' permission. And when you receive a letter, starting February 22nd, please respond. And everyone will meet each other at 1 p.m. Sunday, March 28th event. Hopefully it's a parking lot fair, or it will be an online game gathering. And I can put the link to sign up in the chat later, or Richard can. So our closing words for today.
Maria, can Aria show you quick one of the projects she made with a mistake?
Oh, yeah, Eric, thank you.
Thank you.
I was making a fish before I ripped it. And my sister ripped it, so then I ripped the other part, and then this is the fin now.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, we forgot to have a discussion about what you saw in that first book that stood out to you, or if you have any times that you've made a mistake and then it's turned into something awesome. Does anyone have an example that they can think of?
We've had similar examples where we tried to bake cakes. Me and Aria like to watch that show, like the cooking shows, and we've tried to make them and it almost never turns out right. And so we've had to whip up some frosting and just cover everything up. And we just do a lot of decorations because usually what we started with is not pretty. So I really liked Reverend Laura's story about that today. We've had to do very similar things. So that's a good lesson in life for sure.
You can always add more frosting.
Laura, I had to chuckle about your story about the angel food because my mom always made homemade angel food cakes that we loved. And when the first time I tried to make it, I couldn't remember if I had to grease the pan or not. So I tried to call mom. This is before cell phones, and she was off and not available. But my dad picked up the phone and said, I'm sure she greases the pan. So I did, and it really didn't turn out. But I learned after that you don't grease it, and all's been better since.
Sometimes it's hard to think of the mistakes we make, but our body or our minds do such a good job of reminding us sometimes of those mistakes because they help us remember not to make them again.
I have to bring up this one particular mistake. It's actually happened a number of times. It wasn't really doing anything. It was when I didn't behave the way I wanted to behave. One of my children was being naughty, and I hollered at them. And I realized as soon as I had hollered that that was a mistake. I felt really, really bad about it. But fortunately, my child is more mature than I am at times, and we ended up talking about it so that we then learned how, when one of us hurt the other, we were able to fix it. That came out of that mistake, and it's been a wonderful thing for me ever since.
My son shared a video on Facebook this morning that was of a German filmmaker named Werner Herzog, and he was watching it's a weird story. A skateboard magazine wanted to interview him. I'm not sure why. He's this elder German filmmaker. But they interviewed him and they showed him these videos of skaters, and the video was almost like a little sermon because he's watching these skaters, and I know that some of you have seen skateboarding videos, and you know that it involves more falls than it involves like tricks that are done correctly. And so he would watch these skateboarders like fail, 20 or 30 times doing a trick before they finally landed one, and just kind of marveled at that sometimes you do things wrong a lot more than like that's just part of the process. Like, you stumble and you get back up and you try again and you try again, and then you have a moment of getting it right. And it was really a cool video, so I liked it.
Yeah, when I was watching a video of some pop-up pianists playing at, like, they would set up pianos outside at a park, and some person that anyone could stop by and play. And so they had some videos of people that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be a musician, and they would start playing and by memory and so many notes. And I just think of all the hours of practice that takes, because it doesn't just come.
One of the things I think about regarding mistakes, my own mistakes, not only are they do they help me learn to do better the next time? I learn a lot from them, but I'm also so much more willing to forgive other people when they make mistakes that might initially hurt me. I think it makes me a more compassionate, forgiving person.
I think that's an awesome one to end on, but I do want to leave it open if anyone else has anything they want to share about a mistake and something beautiful that came out of it. Our closing words are, what will become of a failure? What can be built with an honest mistake? This is a quote from Reverend Theresa I. Soto. Keep paying attention, keep dreaming, and supposing that more is possible. We don't know the ending. And if you are tired, then it must be time to rest. Staying curious is like a muscle. We flex, reaching out for what we don't know yet, and relax, leaving space for what is yet to come. These are some words about our chalice extinguishing from Reverend Andrea. At the end of our service, we blow out the chalice and reminding us that we together now carry a warmth of this community and the light of truth with us throughout the week. I would like to invite Linnea to lead us in the words for extinguishing our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thanks, Linnea. I want to say a couple words about our final song. So Nicole has been sending me often audio clips of her and Lark doing the songs. It's a lot to put videos together. Nicole's only works limited hours, so sometimes she sends me the audio and then I'm able to put the video together. And I want to say this whole last 10 months has in some ways felt like a big oops, right? A big thing that we stumbled into. And it has been really hard for all of us. But there are certain moments, like when I was putting together this video today, because Nicole really wanted some oomph in it. And I hope that I have done right by her. As you watch this video, you're going to see a lot of your faces because I just scoured through our Facebook and what I had of pictures of you all. And as I was doing that, I felt so connected to you all. And so it really is a gift for me to be able to do that. And so there are those things that are coming out of this big, whatever the pandemic is, new ways that we're finding to be connected to each other and to feel those moments. And I'm grateful for that. And so here's our final song. And I know Nicole definitely wanted this to be an engaged song. So please, I'm encouraging you to dance in your chairs or get out of your chairs and dance or move your hands around or move your body however you want to engage the song. So here is When the Spirit Says Do, Nicole on vocals and Lark on piano, and many of your faces.
You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do, Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, Lord. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord.
Jazz hands, everyone. That was so great. Thank you so much, Nicole, Lark, and Laura, for putting all of that together. So we have a coffee hour at the end of our services, which means you bring your own coffee and we put you into breakout rooms. We have a couple ideas for what you could do in your breakout room if you wanted. You can find items in your room or close by you that start with each letter of the alphabet. So as a group, one person maybe finds something that starts with A all the way through G. Work as a group. Or you can talk with your group about things you have in common. Can you come up with a list of things you all have in common? Good luck. So now is a good time to leave if you are wanting to go off and do other things like eat lunch, or you can stay and we'll put you in small groups. I've never done small groups. Laura, are you doing small groups?
Yep, I got control. There we go.